All right. Good day, everybody, and welcome to the webinar Intelligent Triage, Reimagined Triage, and Automated Investigations. I am Rich Frawley, Director of Training here at ADF Solutions, and I will be walking you through the webinar today. I want to thank you for being here. I know everybody's got choices, so thanks for popping in here and listen to me ramble for a little bit. For those of you who don't know me, I'm Rich Frawley. I'm the Director of Training at ADF Solutions. I've been with ADF Solutions for going on 9 years now, almost going into my 10th. Prior to that, 23 years in law enforcement, and 17 of those as a forensic examiner and investigator, doing all types of cases. You name it, I saw it. It was the nice thing about being one of the first labs in our state was a lot of work got, not only did I have a lot of work, but a lot of work came to me from other departments. So as you can tell, if you do the math, I've been around in this for quite a long time in this industry, in forensics, in investigations. Something still near and dear to my heart. Still love the investigation. Matter of fact, I was having a conversation with somebody before, and the investigative mind clicks in when you're trying to think of where did that data come from? Why was it there? What was it part of? And it just still all there. And it's nice. So that's me. We're going to get right into this. Digital forensics and the need for efficient triage. So it says here a brief history of digital forensics, and we don't really need a history lesson. We've pretty much all been involved in it. You get dinosaurs like me who have been doing it for quite a while. And like I said, when I started this, there weren't really anybody else doing it in the state. We had the state police had a lab. There was another lab in the north of the state, and I was down in the south, and just brought in a lot of work. And then it was only computers, only, megabyte hard drives or small gigabyte hard drives, right? Nothing like we're seeing today. But still, a lot of it, if you were part of that initial era, the computers, like at the beginning, people maybe didn't have that many computers, but then everybody in the family had a computer. So there were several. If you went into a place and you were going to be looking at devices, there were numerous desktops or laptops, and then come mid 2000s and phones, and just crazy time then, and it keeps getting bigger devices, more mobile devices now, varied devices, more than it was before. You're not just looking at Windows, you're looking at Mac, you're looking at Linux, you're looking at tablets, you're looking at Chromebooks, you're looking at mobile devices. So it really, when I go in to look at what needs to be done, how am I going to handle all this quickly, easy for me to say, quickly and efficiently, so that we're not bringing all this back and inundating the lab. And not only that, the part about triage is it's not just, hey, which one of these need to go back? Which ones can I leave behind? Like grandma's pink iPad. Yeah, nice clean triage on that. Boom, grandma, you get to keep your pink iPad. The lab doesn't have to go through it, and it's not stuck in the paperwork that's needed to get something released back to a family member when it didn't really have any part of the case to begin with. So, having that efficiency, needing to know, yeah, it doesn't need to go back, or yeah, it does need to go back, but how long is that going to take once we get it back? And is there anything I can do today that's going to help me make decisions? Is there anything I can collect today, since I'm doing this, to help me move forward? And there's quite a few different methods or thoughts on triage when you're getting into it, right? I'm going out on scene and I want to go through and know what's coming back and what's going. So show me 3 pictures if it's child exploitation case, and we're on our way. Unplug it and go. Not really looking at anything else that may be on there. If you're an investigator or you're the examiner doing it, right, your needs might be a little different. So we kind of want to look at that way when we're defining triage, right? Triage is pretty simple. You are taking something and putting a priority on it based on what you found on it, right? Back to medical. Hey, you're okay. You just cut your finger. You can wait. Oh, you're missing your arm. Yeah, you got to go sooner. Oh, you're on death's doorstep. You go first, right? So like a red, yellow, green type of triage. And we're kind of looking at it that way too. But once the triage process is done, can I make a decision today with the suspect, with what needs to be preserved, with maybe an arrest warrant the next day, maybe an arrest on scene? And definitely, if I'm gathering some information quickly, can it help me with my interview lock the 2 things together, right? That's really important when you're doing this. So triage really becomes not just to show me the 3 pictures, but show me what you can in a short amount of time and let me make some decisions with it. Here are the key stages, right? The initial assessment and data. What do I have? What is here in front of me that I need to look at if I'm using this on a search warrant type situation? Or this might even be back after the search warrant and you just have a boatload of stuff to look at and say, okay, where do I need to go from here? Well, what is it? What am I looking at? Is it laptops? Is it laptops with the devices, right, with your hard drives or your storage as married to that motherboard where you're not going to be able to remove it, or if you remove it, you're not going to get anything. Not necessarily physically. You could physically remove it, but if you do, you may brick it. So you need to start looking at that. Do I have a Chromebook? Do I have a Mac that I really want to see what's on it now? Do I have access to any of these devices? Do I have the mobile devices? Did they give me access to the mobile devices on scene? All that really starts okay, what am I looking at? And what do I need to take this? What did I bring everything in my toolbox that I can? Can I connect my phone to my laptop, my forensic laptop, and do a preview of it, or do a quick acquisition of it, do an advanced logical, right? On scene, you got to remember, it's triage. It's the quick data review and deciding what's evidence and potentially what's not. And then getting that ready to be analyzed. Which one of these go first? Which one of them goes second? Which one, like I said, we may not even have to look at, put it on the shelf. We've done a cursory search. There's nothing in there. If we need to turn it over later, we can turn it over later. And then right into, did the triage I did on scene allow me the ability to do a nice, quick, clean report on that, right? I've used a specific tool on scene to do a preview of a mobile device. I'm going to keep that mobile device. So with that preview, can I just quickly, make a couple comments, do a couple tags, and have a report that says, I came, I saw, I conquered, and this is why. And then that goes with the device. So whoever does go to sweep the corners out of that device knows what's already been done, knows what they're looking at, and it helps them move forward through that. So triage can be as simple as, I came, I saw, I conquered, but I'm already here for a certain amount of time. So instead of, show me the 3 images in a minute or 2, let it run for 5 minutes and really, put the nails to this, let the investigator go back and sit at the desk and send out preservation orders and start linking things together, start taking the report that says, yes, this came from here. This was, user manipulated. The user during an interview said, hey, yes, I did download those. It wasn't anybody else in the family. I did get it from this site. So now you're locking that user to what you are going to be looking at. When you're doing this, you do want to, have that repeatable and efficient workflow with whatever you're doing. You do have to adapt and change, right? Adapt and overcome quite a bit in this when you're going out. It's never as it seems, even though you played it through your head a million times on what you're doing and you've done your investigation and you're going in to expect, hey, maybe there's a couple of laptops on this guy's desk, and then you open up the closet and it's a server farm, right? Had that happen. So eBay frauds quickly turn into, oh my goodness, we're going to be here for a while. So being able to go out, have the tools that you need, have a plan in place. This is how I triage. This is what I collect. This is how it helps me in my interview. This is the data I need to look at when I'm doing my triage. Show me 3 pictures. Great. Well, I just had the computer up. Show me the USB devices that Windows has logged as being part of being connected to this device, right? Plug in a USB, Windows logs it. Show me that list right away. So now I know what I'm looking for in this house. And I've said it before, usually if you look under the pillow or the mattress, there's the external drive that has everything. And if you need to have the clear guidelines and checklists of, hey, what am I looking for? What's going to help me get in and out faster, but help me as soon as I get back to my desk with wrapping this up for either court the next morning for this person, or like I said, getting everything ready to go into the lab. It does help you prioritize, what's next, what needs to go first, what needs to go last. Depending on the type of case you're working, depends on whether you really need to sweep the corners out of this case right away. Child exploitation, of course, no victim on a shelf, right? You're going to sweep out the corners. You're going to make sure everything's done. Due diligence on every item that comes through that has any type of contraband on it. So you want to do that. And avoiding analysis paralysis. Kind of being, I'm stuck. I don't know what I'm looking at. There's too much here. I don't know what to do. You're right. If you don't have that clear plan, all of a sudden you're going to do something and you're walking around like you got one foot nailed to the floor. So it does really help you with that effective time management, as I've listed it here. Sharing information resources with team members when you're doing this, especially if you're working with a team, maybe you're hitting a couple different places at the same time. We've done that before. We've done homes and the person's at work, especially the child exploitation realm where you might have them doing things from both places. Is it a cyber tip? Are we both looking for the same items in both places? Not, hey, I made my profile, you made your profile. This is what I like. This is what you like. No, let's collaborate. Let's make sure we are doing the same thing on each side and tying it together. Did he move anything from work to home? Did he move anything from home to work? That type of thing. And again, I've talked to this, documenting those findings, making sure you have that right away and sharing it with where it's going to. If you're the investigator on scene doing this, which has become quite commonplace now, where the lab isn't going out and doing this work, where the investigators are trained to go out and do some of the initial collection and bring the stuff back. So making sure they have the ability to, hey, here's what I've done. Here's how I did it. Here's the report of what I found, where I found, how I found, the way the tools are supposed to document all that knowledge for you. So making sure everybody's on the same page, you're sharing the same information, you're looking for the same information. You don't want to be caught on your heels, but if you are caught on your heels, can you adapt and overcome with the tool you have? Like, oh, I didn't put those keywords in the search profile that I'm going to use to run, but now that I have that new information, can I do that, right? How do I do that? Just questions like that are what you want to be looking at there. So with that, I am going to move into showing you some information here that you can get. Of course, it's ADF. Let me just change my my sharing here. Sorry for the close-up. All right. So Digital Evidence Investigator Pro, this application or tool or a program, however you want to use the terminology, does both computers and mobile devices in a variety of different ways. There are very few, if any, devices that you are not going to be able to look at or get something off either on a search warrant with, of course, policy procedure. My disclaimer, everything goes back to that. What are you allowed to do on scene? What is your policy and procedure? And what is your, how are you restricted by the Fourth Amendment? So I'll show you what the tool does. You're the one who uses it where it's supposed to be used according to your policy procedure laws. So whether you're on scene triaging everything, or whether you're working with a victim witness or consent, right? It's kind of a triage that way as well, where you have a victim that's willing to give you some information, but they're not willing to give you the whole device, which we all get. But I'll show you a couple things here that we've just added that will help in that way as well. And we all know, like, what I call the tail light guarantee is, yeah, I'll come back tomorrow. Once that device walks out the door, you're never going to see it again. And you're going to have to go other routes and hope, that they are backing it up and they haven't destroyed their device or got a new device or what have you. But yeah, if it's in front of you and you have the ability to get it, I'm going to show you a couple things here that really help you put that information together. A good place to start here, usually I, bang into a couple of quick demos. This is how it runs. What I want to show you is a search profile and an empty one here. This is basically your set of instructions on what I want to get out of a device, whether it's a mobile device or whether it's computer. This here is what you're looking at. I'm sorry, I'm pointing over this way. That's where my screen is. Also in front of me, but smaller. We have these groups, right? Applications. So next to that is all the different things that go in and collect the data related to applications here. Anti-forensic traces, keyword search for your CCleaners and your encryption and your wipers and everything like that, right? If I'm on a triage, and I'm just going to focus here for a second, is that something that's going to help me make a decision that day, if that's what I'm going out for? Or will this help me know that I'm not finding things because CCleaner may be on here and may have been utilized a few times? So it's like, do I want that right up off the front, or do I want to be faster and just gather data that's going to help me make other decisions? So that's the kind of process I use when going through. Like, I get down to here to communications, to messaging and emails, right? Okay, I'm going to check emails. They're going to help my case. Well, Yeah, but if we're triaging and looking for low hanging fruit, I would save that for maybe a secondary look. Do a fast look for all the low hanging fruit, and then emails. 'Cause if I hit email on a computer that's been downloaded, especially a work computer, you can be there for a while chugging through that and parsing everything out. So that could almost hinder a triage and turn it into more investigative than you need. So really, you really go through each one of these call logs. How long does that take to parse out if I find some call logs? Not long. Let me add that. But applications, child exploitation, keywords against file names and folder names, right? PTHC, Lolita, age group, all of your, I think I said Lolita, but all the search terms that get used run against file names and folder names will get you that information, that low hanging fruit almost immediately. Right. So that's in my triage. Every time I do a triage for that type of case, that is going to be turned on. Then you get to hash sets, right? Project Vic, Cat 1, Cat 2. Those are really the ones I don't want the whole Project Vic hash set in here. And then what am I going to run it against? So if I could bring in Cat 1s, chargeable, and run them just against pictures and videos in the user profile, that to me is a triage that I'm going to use for further investigation at my desk. It's not just to show me the 3 pictures. I'll get that with the file names and folder names, keyword search. This is going to give me a little bit more substantial. It's going to give me that, is this a real victim, right? These are chargeable. I'm only doing Cat 1s in Project Vic. Forgive me for not knowing the CADES off the top of my head. But yeah, you're chargeable. So whatever's chargeable, you could bring in and run that. Or there's a hash set in here that's about 400,000. It's an older set, but again, there's a lot of low hanging fruit in there. That's going to contain all the LS Studio, Angel Island, all those other, what I call the starter set. You see them on every computer. So you can also add that. It's 400,000, run it against the user profile. You're probably going to get some good hits. I had somebody last week who we walked through some of this during the day and text that night, got them. Thanks. The hashes really helped. Just step by step communication. I have some ones that I added in here. So it's fully customizable. You can make your own. Hey, this person's dealing. We know he's using this chat program, or he's on a computer and he's using A, B, and C. So maybe there's some type of thing capture you need to collect files from that app, or specifically look for something related to that. You can create it. You can totally customize this and bring in all your own keywords, all your own hashes, all your own file collection. Of course, it depends on what your case is. You have information on a drug case that, he keeps everything in this type of folder on his computer through, your UC. So you'd be able to come in here and say, hey, collect everything from this path, every file that's in this folder on that computer, right? So you can set something as simple as that. When you're getting into the phones, the health data, we have a whole bunch of intelligence keywords in here, location data, multimedia, all the different ways to collect your pictures and videos, your user data. I had device data up here. I don't know if I stopped on that one, right? So your device information, your operating systems, your network connections, all that information. What do I want? USB history. Turn it on or turn it off. Very simple. So this, you just walk through step by step, pick what you want, create your profile, and you're out the door with it. You can see I have a bunch here: Triage Live, child exploitation, multimedia. So that goes through, and I'll just show you here. Applications, I'm just pulling the peer-to-peer. And you'll see at the end why this is set the way it is. So just peer-to-peer. child exploitation, the 400,000 hashes, the keywords in the file names, and keywords in the user profile gets a little bit deeper than just file names and folder names. Looking in content and stuff. So get me a little more. Doesn't take long to run. Not worried about communication. When it comes to device data, I want that USB history, my operating system information, and encrypted drive. So on a live Windows machine, if it's BitLocker, this will grab those credentials for you and save them. Excuse me. So that's important to run. Then you can see I come all the way down to multimedia. I'm looking for pictures and videos, not looking for the large ones, anything under 500 megabytes in size. Everything from the user profiles. Nice hit. And that's where the keywords and stuff are set to run as well. The keywords and the hashes are going to run against that area. My user data, recent files, user account, and my web browser. Browsing history, download history, save credentials. Save credentials is live only, but if they're saving their usernames and passwords for anything in their browser, you're going to have it. Financial, picture sharing sites, their social media. So when I talk about preservation orders, that's where your preservation orders are mainly going to come from. Without deep diving into other stuff, where are they going to? Where have they saved their credentials? And not only those credentials, if I come across encrypted stuff, you have all these passwords here as well. But yeah, you can go right back and say, okay, look at all this, all these social media accounts. Look at all these picture sharing or their cloud storage. So now you're able to fax out those preservation orders at your desk. Boom, boom, boom. Here's their username. Here's their account. And it helps you there. So I didn't pick a lot for my initial triage. And you're going to see why I picked them. When we get into file collection for the pictures, as these pictures are being collected, here's where some intelligent background stuff goes on. We look at that file and say, okay, this file's name is lolita123.jpg. As we're collecting that and we're looking at that, we look at peer-to-peer messaging. Now, this was a computer app I'm looking at here. This isn't a mobile device, but peer-to-peer messaging, email, not collecting it, download history, recent files, browser cache. So those 6 different artifacts, if lolita123.jpg is found in any of those, it automatically links it to it for me. So when I go and open up my analysis right away, hey, look, this picture was downloaded. It's got 3 recent file entries, and it was sent by a message. So immediately, I have user manipulation, if you will, and something to go after the person with right there on scene 5 minutes after doing the scan. Hey, tell me about this picture. Tell me about you downloading it. How many times did you view it? Why did you send it to such and such? Kind of linking them to it. But it does all that for us. So this is really your first step. And once you've done this, it doesn't take long to go through and save these. And I have one for storage devices as well. Go into the storage device. First off, we make a list of every file and folder that's on there, just an inventory, not necessarily collected, right? Here's everything that's on the drive. Excuse me. And here's what's collected. So storage drives, they scan a little bit different, but I run keywords and file names, or keywords against file names and folder names, and pictures and videos and hashes, right? So that's really all I need. If you want to be even faster, you can maybe just run the hash set against it and say, maybe this is where you're saying, just show me 3 pictures on a storage device, and that's going. Just show me 1 picture on a storage device, and it's going. But that is quick and easy to put together as well. So once they're all run, once you have a profile that you want to run against a computer or something, it's easy. You put it on what's called a collection key. And it's an SSD drive that has the profiles on it that you plug into the computer and run it live on a Windows machine, or you can boot to that collection key, single boot menu key. It's based on Windows, so think WinPE, WinFE. It's a trusted source. There's no need, as long as that computer has a single boot menu key, there is no need to go into the BIOS to change anything. Just point it to the device and it'll start up. It's based on Windows, trusted operating system. Don't have to worry about secure boot. Don't need to worry about changing your boot orders. Single boot menu key, boots right to it. You have a Linux box, boot to it, run your profile against that Linux box. You won't get as many artifacts, but you'll be able to do keywords, hashes, get an inventory of what's on that, put you in the right direction. What I want to get into now, that's the easy part. You can go in with as many collection keys as you want, 5, 10, 15. We've had a company, we had an agency did 75 at a business, put the 75 collection keys in, went around with one license and started all the scans. So within a reasonable short amount of time, all 75 collection keys are doing their job and working. Now I have my license ready to go back to my laptop where I can start working on mobile devices. The biggest with the triage here, and this is all you have to have access. The computer side, you can boot. You don't need, you don't need credentials. Typically, if it's not encrypted or BitLockered, you should be able to boot to it and do a scan if they're not giving you if you're locked out on a live machine. What we can do on the mobile devices, you have to have access, but we have preview, right? So you get your device connected, and I have one here. I specifically wanted to show within the time we have. This is an older iOS device. I've showed the newer ones quite a bit. So as you notice here, we have this wizard that helps walk through the process of getting your devices connected. You go in here, it tells you to set airplane mode based on your policies and procedures. And then it goes through and it makes sure that all the steps needed to get it connected as a device, not MTP, as a device, are done and ready. And if it's not, it tells you here what needs to be done. Really helpful on the Android side where you need to become a developer and turn on debugging and stay awake and accept apps from unknown locations. That wizard walks you through that process as well. So really helpful if you're new at this and starting to get into it. So you can see I have an Apple iPhone 6 here. And this is preview mode. And of course, I didn't plug in my license. Excuse me while I just grab that. I'm coming back from a trip yesterday, so not everything was on my desk. So this is what I'm talking about. The license gets recognized. So now it is looking at this iPhone 6 that I have here. It's looking for the credentials. Whoops. So it's collecting data already. It's got the device information. It was collecting before I even put in the credentials here at the MTP level. But I got some information, installed applications, pictures. Now, this doesn't have a lot of data on it. But in that short time, if this had thousands, you would have thousands of thumbnails in here and properties and metadata. And then the preview, if I went to preview, that starts showing up when the picture has already been collected, then preview will show up. So I know it's been moved already. So I'm not waiting for an acquisition to be done. It's doing an advanced logical acquisition. We're just showing you the information in real time as it's coming across. So really good way. Even the videos are here. keyframes and the preview, if the preview plays, then we know that the video has been moved from the device into the case here. And then if I go into just here, my files view really quick, shows me everything that was in here that had been collected up to this point. Device information. So not a lot on this phone, but you can see how it's a nice quick preview. We have screencasting, and what I like to show here is when we're doing screenshots and screen recordings, and if you're familiar with this, I'm going to show you something new to get around here. If I have a 6, which I grabbed the 6 here. So if I want to do screenshots of that 6, I can take any screenshot that I want that's on that device, right? You just saw me. That's what's on the screen. So I got my screenshots. But we kind of lose out with casting on the earlier devices. So not really that simple. So we've added now the connection. Instead of connecting it as a device, you can still do that. Still do your advanced logical acquisitions that way. But what we also have is an HDMI here. I'm just getting the cable here. I've got an HDMI output connector on my Apple iPhone 6. And I'm just connecting that to a capture card and connecting that right to my computer. So that's simple. And this stuff comes with the kit. I'm just trusting the computer because I made a new connection. Now if I go into screencasting with this 6 and choose the capture card that I have it connected to, instead of selecting the device itself, I can now cast from there and collect, victim witness consent, where I wanted to get a video off of here or get some chats off of here, get something that might not necessarily be part of an acquisition, or again, it's in front of me. So that's with the older ones. I can now cast. That was a problem. We weren't able to do that. But now when I get into screencasting, and I'm just changing over to an iPhone 14. If I go back into screencasting, and let me just open this up, make sure I'm connected as a device. Okay, so that's connected as a device, but I also want to do it through the mirror box here, and that brings it. So this is an iPhone 14. Same thing. I can do that through HDMI. The reason that's a little different, it's maybe not the best quality there, but when it comes to casting, and I'm going to disconnect all this again and go through a regular device connection. iOS. Next. All right, so there's my iPhone 14 Pro Max with 17.6 on it. And if I come in here and I want to cast, right? I want to take screenshots and I want to cast what's from there into the tool. With HDMI, this way, I either have to have it on a private Wi-Fi network. I say private because that's what most choose. You don't want it going out to the internet. But if you have a private Wi-Fi network set up, you can connect it that way. I can tether the phone to the computer to do it as well. So by doing that, I come in here, I go to my casting on my phone, and it makes the connection here so I can see it, right? So there it is. I'm connected as the device. You can see it's a little different. It's a little cleaner, maybe a little bit more. Instead of having that big landscape screen with the portrait in the middle, now it's just a nice portrait picture. So that's the difference between the HDMI and your device connection over USB here. But, you know, I get it. Either you don't want to cast that way, you don't want to risk with a network connection or tethered. So HDMI now gives you the ability to do this with any of the iPhones for casting. And it's really, you just need this HDMI adapter. Let's see if I put it up there, right? So the HDMI adapter and power for the lightning bolt or USB they sell them for as well. And I think that'll be part of the kit, but that allows you now to do that. And with any of these connections, it's a simple screenshot or recording. So I could record what's on here, I could screenshot. Kind of a little bit away from the intelligent triage part of this is, if I have the device, if it's grandma's pink iPad device, if it's something like that, and I just want to maybe clear it without having to do, I could do the preview, I can do an acquisition, but maybe I want to grab some more settings in here just in case I need something. I can come in quickly and grab this information off of that device live. Chromebooks. So think the HDMI side. You have a Chromebook on site. You have access to it. HDMI out, right into the media capture card, right into the case. You have an Xbox on scene that you want to do this with, or you're going to bring it back. And there's always the question, how do I do PlayStations? How do I do Xboxes? Well, now, you know, if you're going to, what's your procedure now is maybe copy that drive, put the copy back in, boot it up, and start going through it and taking pictures, right? Well, this will just cast right into your tool, right into this tool, and you could start taking your pictures. You could record the whole session. So anything you have on there right now into the case, date, time, device it's taken from, and a hash of whatever images or videos you were taking. So very, very good. You're on scene. You have the ability here to do anything with an HDMI out. I had my Fire Stick in here, right? Roku, Xboxes, PlayStations, phones. That's about all I've tested. But if you could get HDMI out or an HDMI connection into your capture card, you'll be able to stream and capture that. Show you one more thing. I know I've talked about it. Let me go back to review results. So I have a scan down here that I did, and I've shown this a couple times. This is a quick triage. This I ran a lot of things on. But you can see all the different things that it collected. When you customize your profiles and you bring in your hashes or your keywords, everything that you bring in gets brought to, everything that matches gets brought to the top. It has a little red magnifying glass here that says, hey, this is a match on a keyword or a hash value, and puts it right back at the top here for you. The red lines underneath mean they were tagged. I set them to automatically tag in my report or to be part of my report. So they're showing here, these are already tagged. I haven't done any analysis on this yet. This is right off hot off the presses. I come into my gallery, look, my work's done for me. A lot of decisions are made. I was talking about that in the background. Where did this picture come from? So this picture of the bulldog here, you can see there's a download history record. right? I can click on that. It takes me right to the download history, date and time it was done, profile, user, path that it's in, that it was saved to, how long it took to download, completed, started, the whole bit. I have recent file entries, whether it's from MRU, link, jump list, whatever, wherever it came from, that recent file entries here. So there's several of them showing that it's been opened. I have the path where it currently sits. I can click on that and see if there's anything else in there that hasn't been caught. And again, I've got the hashes, the dates, the times, the preview. So not only do I have contraband, I have contraband that was downloaded through Chrome from whatever site it showed. I have recent file entry showing it was opened, right? All the stuff you usually put together yourself, thrown together right here for you. And I can filter this down by that. I can go right to my filter, to my linked artifacts, and say, show me the 4 pictures or the downloaded, the peer-to-peer, right? These are my linked artifacts. So there's the 4 contraband dogs, and then there's other that came from peer-to-peer that aren't. So it's just an easy way to focus in on what you want. The filters are very powerful, reducing your sets of what you're looking at. Just allows you to go a lot quicker. Videos, we get all the metadata, the properties, the metadata, keyframes from that video. So if you think there's something in there, now you can go to preview and play that video as well. So a couple of things that are done behind the scene. Know what you're going to want. Remember, it's triage. Don't overload, your profiles on what you're going to do. Only pick and choose what's going to help you make decisions. If you didn't find something with your smaller subset, you can always go bigger. There's ways to set up the tool to just pick and choose on scene which you want to do. You can add keywords. If you come on scene and your investigation's completely changed, there are ways to adapt and overcome in that way as well. A lot of features I didn't get into, with the HDMI and the screen captures. You can get audio as well through that. You can record your whole session. You record a little snippet. It allows you to get as many devices done in that short amount of time, and put you on the right road. When you are doing screen captures and screen recordings, you can tag and comment before the case is even before it's processed. So you're saying, hey, I'm taking this picture. And this is one of my, when you take a picture, especially when you get older, or when you're looking at a picture for your investigation, but you're also looking at thousands of them. You say, I want this picture, and you take the picture and you don't tag it, or you don't comment on it. Then 3 weeks from now, you look at that picture along with the thousands of others you took, and you go, why did I do that? What was in this picture that made me take it, And then it might not be what's the focus of the picture. It might be somebody in the background looking over the person's shoulder that's your suspect. Or maybe they're wearing a coat in the background that is unique to your suspect, right? So, hey, the person in the background's wearing the victim's coat, or the person looking over the shoulder is my suspect, that type of thing, right? Type it down, tag it, and now 3 weeks from now or 2 years from now why you took that picture and why it was important and vital at the time you did it, instead of having to wait till later. So that's a really good addition in there as well. Questions, comments, concerns? I rambled on a little bit, kind of strayed a little bit, but I'm really, triage has always been my I was a one-person lab when I started this. I had, like everybody else in the world, 18-month at least backlog. So I started utilizing triage way back. Linux disks, boot disks, Ethernet connections, on scene, so I didn't have to bring all that stuff back to the lab. And that we started doing that in like 2003. So triage has always been a part of my workflow, my investigative hat, if you will. And then it allowed me, when the forensics were done, I knew, yes, this has something on it. Yes, I'm going to sweep out the corners and do everything, but it kind of gives me a starting point as to, okay, this is on here and this is what we need to look at. So that is it. If there's any questions, be more than happy to answer those. Other than that, that was that's my spiel for today, and I'm sticking to it. And again, thank you for taking the time for being here. I know everybody's got choices, and I'm glad you came in here and saw me. So with that, have a great day, and we will talk with you later.